All right, so with Mr. A, I know we were just mentioning in the earlier video a little bit with his conformation. So I just wanted to sort of show you guys. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but like as he moves, his hind end, he's very bow-legged. And I'm not trying to pick on your handsome guy, so don't worry. There's definitely plenty of dogs that just have awkward gaits and it's no big deal. But as I was mentioning earlier, before Miss K said, woe is me, is I just want you to make sure that medically there's nothing going on. So I'm going to set him up where you can kind of visually see him, again, moving. And you can kind of see the hind end, how he moves one of the hind legs a little bit more than the other. And that he's kind of, again, got a little bit of that splayed back end. So he's still having a grand old time, and it could just be the way he's used to being and moving. And that's no big deal. But I would definitely dive into it a little bit and just make sure he is, doing okay physically. So, but for the handsome guy, we're going to warm up a little bit now with some of our other skills. So we might rock a beautiful little sit. Nice. So remember, whenever practicing any skill set, is in the beginning, we might create behavior again through luring with the food. We sometimes will do behavior through shaping and capturing as well. So remember, for shaping, that would be feeding or reinforcing for the little beginning stages of the full behavior for down the road. Luring, again, back to the first one, is where you use your food to lure the pup into a typical position that maybe they're not sure of. So if, let's say, you were working on a stand, you could lure your puppy into a standing position. He says, boy, is he winded. He did some nice wrestling earlier. So let's say, for example, your puppy gets a little stuck. I might even lower it a little bit, see if I can get him to move forward. He's like, my brain melted. So what we'd be looking for is, if the puppy ever gets a little confused, don't worry. Ready? Stand. We'd be working on bringing him into a standing position. He is so tired. Ready? There we go. Yes. So the food lures him. You drop them right out of your mouth, you silly goose. Find it. So view the food in the beginning like a lure, almost like the fish with the hook and the worm. You're luring the fish to come grab a hold. As though your puppy becomes more refined, you want to fade out that lure as quickly as you can. So what I mean by that is, if you're always eating food to a sniffer first to get the sit, we'd want to fade that out. So what that would start to look like is, I'm just going to get him up and wiggling to do a find it. I'm going to have my food ready, but in maybe the opposite hand, or you could leave it in your pouch. You could go into your visual, go into a sit, and then yes to feed. So you're still feeding for the correct behavior. It's just that you're not using the food to be the beginning stage of that exercise. So if I always presented the food first, the puppy might start to think the full sentence is food presented, do the skill, and then get the reinforcement. We want him to go from giving the behavior by visually and verbally seeing those cues, and then going into the behavior from there, and then be fed after. He says, boy, is he exhausted. Pooped out, huh? So when working with, for example, shaping, like I mentioned a few moments earlier, shaping is going to be where you're feeding for even like the beginning stages. So let's say my dog didn't know how to do a down position, but he gave me a beautiful downward facing dog. I would feed him for those little attempts and then build into only feeding for the full behavior. Of course, now the two are like, we're just going to wrestle. So of course now Kiva and Miss Tuna said we should play through the fence. So with Mr. Handsome, if you're getting great behavior, don't forget to deposit into that account, but also make sure that if, let's say, he's having a challenging moment, go back to the way he understood it. So that could be shaping. I know she's singing today. It could be through shaping, through capturing behavior is another great option. So that's, oh my goodness, Miss Kiva, she says, worst day ever, Max doesn't want to wrestle. So and he was playing earlier, which was awesome. So maybe what I'll do is I'll see if I can give Miss K a little something to chew on, and then we'll come back and we'll work a little bit more with this. Nice job, sir.